The recent changes in landlord regulations and property laws in the UK have caused a stir among property owners and potential investors. Among the most alarming updates, many landlords are facing an estimated £15,000 bill bombshell to bring their rental properties up to new standards. With escalating compliance costs and the government pushing for more sustainable and tenant-friendly housing, landlords are scrambling to understand the new requirements and how to navigate them. Here's what every homeowner and landlord should know and what steps they can take to avoid costly pitfalls. Why the £15,000 bill is becoming a concern. The UK's rental market is undergoing significant changes as part of the government's push for a more sustainable, energy-efficient housing stock. New rules aimed at improving the environmental footprint of rental properties are at the heart of this shift. These regulations are likely to impose new costs on landlords who have older properties that don't meet updated energy efficiency standards. One of the major components of these changes is the Minimum Energy Efficiency Standards (MEES), which require rental properties to have an Energy Performance Certificate (EPC) rating of at least C by 2028. This means that properties with an EPC rating of D or lower will need extensive work to meet the new requirements. For many landlords, this could translate into a significant financial burden, with costs rising to £15,000 or more depending on the property's condition and the extent of the necessary upgrades. What the new rules mean for landlords. Several pieces of legislation are shaping the future of rental properties in the UK. Energy efficiency requirements. As mentioned, the EPC rating of a rental property must be upgraded to a minimum of a C by 2028. This could involve significant upgrades to heating systems, insulation, double glazing, and even the installation of renewable energy sources like solar panels. Rent repayment orders (RROs). Under the rent repayment order system, landlords could be required to repay rent if their property doesn't comply with the latest health and safety regulations or the minimum energy standards. Stricter tenant regulations. New laws are also giving tenants more power to challenge landlords who don't maintain or improve their properties. The government has been rolling out initiatives to make it easier for tenants to report subpar housing conditions, which could lead to further financial penalties for landlords who fail to comply. Building safety requirements. After the Grenfell Tower tragedy, building safety has become a huge focus in UK property law. There are now more regulations about fire safety, cladding, and overall building condition, particularly for landlords with high-rise properties. The potential costs of non-compliance. For landlords who don't take action to meet the new standards, the financial consequences could be severe. The £15,000 figure comes from estimates of the costs involved in upgrading a property to meet the required energy efficiency levels. This could include insulation upgrades. If your property is poorly insulated, you could face costs of up to £5,000 for insulating lofts, walls, and floors. Heating systems. The installation of energy-efficient heating systems like air source heat pumps or replacing gas boilers with electric alternatives can cost several £1,000s. Double glazing. Windows will likely need to be replaced with double glazing, a costly process especially if a property has several windows. Renewable energy. Installing solar panels or other renewable energy solutions is not just a long-term investment, but could be required to meet sustainability targets. Professional fees. Surveyors and energy assessors may be required to ensure that the necessary work is done correctly and to verify compliance with the regulations. Failing to meet these requirements could also lead to rent reductions, or even an inability to legally rent the property out, resulting in lost income. What can landlords do to avoid this bill bombshell? While the £15,000 cost may seem daunting, There are proactive steps that landlords can take to avoid these large expenses and reduce their financial risk. Start early. The new energy standards are not yet in full effect, but it's wise for landlords to begin making improvements now rather than wait until the deadline approaches. Doing so will help spread out the costs and ensure that your property is up to code when the changes come into effect. Audit your property. Get a professional EPC assessment to determine your property's current energy rating. A full audit will help you understand where your property is lacking and what improvements will be needed. This can also provide a clearer picture of how much you'll need to spend to make the necessary upgrades. Prioritize the most cost-effective upgrades. Some energy efficiency upgrades can be done relatively cheaply, such as adding insulation or switching to LED lighting. These small changes can have a significant impact on your energy rating without breaking the bank. Consider green funding options. There are government schemes and grants available to help with energy efficiency upgrades, such as the Green Homes Grant. Researching and applying for these financial aids can help offset the costs. Consult with professionals. If you're unsure about how to make the necessary improvements, hiring a contractor or energy specialist could save you money in the long run. They can offer advice on which upgrades are the most cost-effective and work within your budget. Evaluate your property's viability for rent. If you have a property that would require significant investment to meet the new energy standards, consider whether it's still worth renting out. In some cases, it might be more cost-effective to sell the property or turn it into a different kind of investment. Keep track of legal changes. Laws surrounding rental properties can change rapidly. Staying informed about these changes will help you avoid any surprises down the line. Joining landlord associations or subscribing to property law updates will ensure you're always in the loop. Final thoughts. The PS 15,000 bill Bombshell is a real concern for landlords in the UK, especially as the government cracks down on energy efficiency and building safety standards. However, it's important to remember that these regulations are in place to ensure the long-term sustainability of the housing market and the comfort and safety of tenants. By taking proactive steps to upgrade properties now and keeping up with the latest regulations, landlords can avoid financial shock and ensure that their properties remain competitive in an evolving rental market. The key is to act early, stay informed, and make smart, sustainable investments in your properties.